Tokyo Ghoul Recall to Exist might just be the worst game I've played in my life. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but over the course of this video, I think you'll come to understand why I think this game is so bad. Tokyo Ghoul Recall to Exist is a 2019 game that was published by Bandai Namco. If you don't know them by now, Bandai Namco is the publisher for most popular anime games. Dragon Ball games, Naruto games, Digimon games, whatever anime game you can think of, there's a pretty big chance that Bandai Namco published it. And while there are some really good Bandai Namco games, a lot of them are just horrible. Like just straight up cash grabs trying to profit off a popular IP. And Tokyo Ghoul Recall to Exist, which I'm going to be calling Call to Exist from now on, is one of them. Call to Exist is an action-adventure game based on Tokyo Ghoul Re, if you couldn't tell already, and since it's an action-adventure game, I figure we should start with the action. Alright, so the combat in this game is pretty simple, and it's also really bad, but it's not bad because it's simple. So before we actually talk about the combat, I'm just going to give you like a breakdown of every move and ability you have in this game. Alright, so first of all, you got your basic attack string, which has like 3 or 4 attacks depending on your character. Secondly, you got 2 special attacks that do more damage but take energy from your stamina gauge. And lastly, you got like your ranged attacks, and you can also throw shit like grenades and molotovs while you're in this ranged mode. You also have an ultimate bar that you can use for a super special attack, or you can just save it up and use it for like a power up. And while you're in this powered up mode, you do more damage and your attacks are just a lot faster. And if you do decide to do that super ultimate gigantic attack, it just does a lot more damage. Actually, I think it's just a completely different attack now. Oh, and like last for real this time, there's 3 different types of characters in this game. Those being the ghouls who use their ghoul parts. Ghoul parts? The ghouls who use their kagane, the investigators who use their weapons, and the quinxes who use both. Alright, so first things first, like the first thing I have to say about the combat is that it is incredibly repetitive. Like, and I know I say that for a lot of bad games, but like in this game, it takes it up another level. It's like, it's deviously repetitive. It's horribly repetitive. Alright, so I know in my last video I complained about PSO2 New Genesis's combat being repetitive, but this game just takes the cake, bro. When I sit here and just lay out and explain all the combat abilities to you, it might seem like you have a decent amount of shit at your disposal, but you really don't. Okay, so this is how every combat interaction in the game plays out in Call to Exist. Alright, so you walk into a room of enemies, you beat them using your normal attacks and 2 special attacks. After you beat them, more enemies arrive, with some stronger enemies sprinkled in the crowd, so you beat them using your normal attacks and 2 special attacks. So after you beat them, some more enemies arrive with some even stronger enemies being sprinkled in there, so you beat them using your normal attacks and 2 special attacks. And like, maybe your ultimate attack if the gauge is full. Oh, and I guess sometimes you use your ranged attack if there's like an enemy standing on a car or something. Because in this game, jumping is hard. Like the process of jumping in the air or onto things like a car is just unenjoyable and hard. It's hard to do. And I know it might seem a bit unfair for me to just like simplify all the combat sequences in the game to this, but like I'm telling the truth, they're all the same except for like slight changes in the area and terrain. And the tediousness of the combat is not helped by the fact that the levels in this game are really long. Like there's no reason why they should be as long as they are. I was sat at my laptop playing the same level for 20 minutes just waiting for it to end. Like really 20 minutes of this. It's torture. Like honestly bro, when it comes to games like this, like I can find enjoyment out of them. I can enjoy these like bargain bin shitty anime games in short bursts where it's like a hit of enjoyment. Like it's like taking crack, like it's just a small hit, bro. I just hop on, plow through enemies for a couple minutes, then like go take a shit or something. Like it's fun, it's enjoyable, but I can't sit down and play it for 20 minutes, bro. Or at the very least, I can't play the same level for 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes of walking around the same boring environment with like the same 7 enemy types, just doing the same shit, the same 3 moves over. It's horrible. You know what games have levels that long? Bayonetta games. Devil May Cry games. Games with super interesting and complex combat systems. Not fucking Tokyo Ghoul Recall to Exist. Okay, so even though the game hasn't exactly given us a ton of combat options and it does drag on a bit, it could still be a fun game, you know? Like I could just play half a level then be done with it. It could still be fun. Well, no it isn't. Not only is the combat repetitive and boring, it's also just bad. The 2 main problems I have with this game are the 2 problems that I have with a lot of these low quality rip-off fucking cash grab anime games. First of all, bad hit detection. Half the time you hit an enemy it doesn't even register, or rather you have to be extremely precise when you're attacking an enemy. A lot of the time if you're attacking a group of enemies, your normal attacks essentially become useless because the hits don't register on more than like 2 of them. And the second problem is that even when you do hit the enemies, it just feels like your attacks are like brushing them. It feels like you're lightly tapping your enemies. Like bro, have you seen the Tokyo Ghoul anime? Have you seen what they do to people in that anime, bro? I'm not trying to lightly tap my enemies, I'm trying to deviously devour them. And okay, to be fair and cut them some slack, this doesn't really apply to the weaker enemies. Like, when you attack them, there is some visual feedback, and while I won't say it's satisfying or fun, it isn't as bad as the other ones. But when it comes to the stronger enemies, they are literally just sponges. You just spam normal and special attacks until a button prompt comes up, and that button prompt attack is the only attack that actually affects the enemy. And this is especially bad with the bosses. The boss fights in this game are just horrible. Alright, so in this game there's two types of bosses. There's the human-sized bosses and the giant bosses. The human-sized bosses are fast and usually just chase you down and beat the fuck out of you. And the giant bosses are just slow and throw slow attacks that do lots of damage. Both of these boss types are shit. But they are shit for completely different reasons. Alright, so the small ones are just constantly dicking you down with attacks, like you barely have time to respond. They feel unfairly hard and are just a pain in the ass to deal with. And the heavy ones are just too easy. Like, you can just spam ranged attacks on grenades when it's chasing you and just spam special attacks when it's not chasing you. So overall, yeah, the gameplay is shit. I mean, this video is called the worst anime game I've ever played. Like, what did you expect? But funnily enough, there is a multiplayer mode. There's a co-op mode and PvP. For the co-op mode, it's basically the same as the single player mode with the AI. Having it be real people is cool, I guess, but it doesn't really make a difference. I guess just the AI does more damage with real people. And as for PvP, I wasn't able to find anyone to play with when I tried, and I really don't feel like playing this game again. I did look up and watch some PvP gameplay, which you should be looking at now, and yeah, it kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it? It's kind of like Shinobi Strikers, except without the mobility and the good combat. I guess the last thing to talk about is the story, and like, I mean, yeah, it's there, I guess. I mean, there isn't much to say about it. It just tells the anime version of Tokyo Ghoul reusing bad cutscenes and character stills, so yeah, I mean, it definitely exists. There is no reason to play this game. The gameplay sucks, it's probably the worst way to experience the story, and it's $20. Or more. Or less. Still shouldn't buy it. Usually for these types of videos, I would say not to play the game unless you're a massive fan of the anime. But to be honest, this game is even more unenjoyable if you like the anime. Just don't play this game, and if anyone on the internet tells you that it's good, then that person is not to be trusted anymore. Real shit. The only reason I bought this game was to make a video on it. This is my second video on the game, and unless this shit gets a million views, then buying the game was not worth it. And that's the end of the video. My PSO2 video did fantastic. You know, lots of views, lots of watch time. Happy days. But yeah, I mean, I don't really got shit to say. You know what I'm saying? I tried to get this shit done quick to fucking capitalize, you know, the stocks, grind, whatever the fuck, move, sell. I don't even know what I'm saying, but yeah, yeah. Hopefully this video does well. I think, as I was recording this, I realized this is one of the funnier videos I've done in a while, which is, yeah. But, yeah, there's a sale for Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, so I guess I'm gonna buy that. Maybe expect some Final Fantasy XIV videos. Don't, to be honest, but anyway, like and subscribe, and as always, this has been your boy Jugo Young. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.